Hello all, and welcome to, well, it's not really a beer review tonight, it's more like a discussion about beer. And that is because I'm coming down with a cold. I have a refrigerator, I have a heck of a lot of new things, you know. I have this, which is shochu. I don't know why they called it shoju, but awamori, made in Japan. I can't wait to go and give this a shot. You know, I have grapefruit sculpin, of all things, waiting for me in the refrigerator. I'm not going to go and touch that until I get better. Right now, it's just coming down. It's starting to get that burning sensation, you know, in the back of your nose and in your throat, and it's like, oh, God. I hate getting the cold. I hate getting sick because you can't drink and you can't smoke. Two of my favorite things in the world. So, anyways, I'm just going to go and I am going to drink tonight because screw colds. And what I am going to discuss tonight is the difference in between the IPA style and the IPL style. And I am going to do that by comparing two beers from the same maker, which is Sierra Nevada. Now this is their Hoppy Lager, which is This is the Hoppy Lager, which is an IPL. This is their limited edition. Go out and get it if you still can find it, because it's damn good. And it's made using the hop torpedo. It's the same method that the torpedo IPA is made. Now, I'm not too sure of the hopping. The hops used can make a strong difference in the end flavor. But the difference in between IPA and IPL is the difference in between ales and lagers. And ales are beers which are fermented in the normal way using common brewer's yeast. And lagers use a different yeast, which was first developed in Germany, which ferments at a much cooler temperature, and also involves a slight period of settling of, I believe, several weeks to a month, in which the chemical changes are ongoing, and that ends up leaving a cleaner tasting beer. That said, it's a matter of taste. Now both of these are, again, very similar, 7.2 and 7.0. So, let's pour this out, shall we? Now, the IPA is, of course, a common style nowadays. This is being an American IPA. And the IPL is sort of a new innovation because craft brewers are always thinking in terms of what new innovations they can come up with. And, well, why don't we use lager yeasts with this sort of heavy New World hopping? And sort of the IPL was born. So I'm going to pour out Torpedo Extra IPA. You got that color? Very archetypical, quintessential IPA color with a very strong pine resin, but also citrus and fruit smell to the bouquet. Let's pour out the lager. Head is a touch more white, and the color is definitely lighter, closer to yellow than the sort of orange you see here. Can you see? One is slightly translucent, One is essentially transparent. That comes from the lagering process, in which a lot of the more floating things, I wouldn't say sediment, there's a technical term for it, but I don't know much about brewing as a technical art. So during the lagering process, which is a cold storage process, precipitation happens, it falls out of the beer. Now this has a very strong smell of skunk and pine, but not much fruit. And that can possibly be explained by also the different malts that tend to be used in regards to ale and lagers. I believe this one is a sort of Pilsner malt base. With the ale, you have a sense of, it's difficult to explain, wider malts that linger. So there's still lingering sweetness on the tongue. There's a certain heaviness to the malts here. A lager can have heavy malts. That's what a Doppelbock is about. That's what a Marzen is about. But they don't tend to linger as much. They tend to finish clearer. There is much more interplay, continuity in between the hops and the malts here. And possibly also the yeast, but IPAs are not really supposed, IPAs and IPLs are not really supposed to be yeast shows, unless they're the Belgian IPAs. In this IPL, you also have very strong hops, definitely a bit more resiny than citrusy here, as in the ale, but that also might be in regards to the hop blend used. Definitely a little bit more skunky, too. You still get a sense of malts, which are slightly sweet as they are in the ale. But the malts are much more distinct from the hop flavor, and they are much cleaner. It clears the palate a lot sooner. Leading from the mid-palate onto the finish, much more of a hop show with just a slight lingering sweetness that's very reminiscent of a good Pilsner. Nothing like a lasting breadiness or juiciness that you would get from the ale. Now, much of the criticism of the IPL is of the fact that it tends to be a lot more difficult to get that balance of hops to malts correct, because it's just a completely different style. Of course, Sierra Nevada does, as I've said in previous reviews, this is a very good IPL. But you can see the trickiness in keeping that balance there. Just a hair too much and it would be over bitter. Just a hair too much malts and it would be syrupy, almost like somebody made a bock and dumped, overhopped a bock. Bock being a lager style. So, which of these do I prefer? Do I like the more rounded, more blended, more interplay in between the hops and the malts, juicier, sweeter ale? Or do I like that clean, distinct, very sharp taste of the lager? Well, as you've seen from my previous videos, I like a whole variety of things. There's, I've explained some styles I haven't liked all that much, but I tend to be very indiscriminating in my tastes, as the fact that I've reviewed macro lagers will go to show you. And I have to say, I like them both, but they are very different experiences, and someone can like one and not the other. So why am I doing this? Well, it just kind of goes to show the highlight, both of these are heavily hopped beers. Anyone kind of coming straight to this would not find much difference. They'll be like, yeah, I want to scrape the bitterness off their tongue because of the high IBUs. But it's more than that. As you drink beer, as you sample a wide variety of styles, as you sample differences in between what each brewer offers for each style, you get a better sense of what distinctions and what divides there are amongst beer, and how the differences feel on your tongue, how they taste on your tongue, how they enter your nose, which is, my nose is slowly being filled up with mucus right now. And as a beer drinker, it sort of behooves us to go and try to exercise our palates and widen them, try things that we don't like, try new things, try to step out of our comfort zones, and, gain a wider sense of experience in our beer drinking life. I'm putting a heck of a lot of, I'm not this pretentious. I'm not a beer snob. Come on, you see me review like Mexican beer. You know I'm not a beer snob. So, in the end, what it all boils down to is drink what you like, but don't drink yourself into a corner. So, that is your sort of beer discussion for today. Again, the beers today discussed were both Sierra Nevada, Torpedo IPA, and Hoppy Lager IPL. Both of them excellent beers. Hoppy Lager is limited release. Find it if you still can. If you can't, well, I feel sorry for you. So, folks, that's your beer discussion for tonight. Cheers.